Hello everybody, my name is Brady and I'm a 19th century American historian and we are back with another React video. But before we get started, I just want to give a couple shoutouts to the newest channel members. Thank you to Swerboy and Required Particular. Required Particular. For some reason I get a serious kick out of your name. Thank you both for becoming channel members, and if any of you want to become a channel member, there is a link to do so in the description box below. Now, let's get into the video. So today we're going to be talking about Bitcoin. Don't leave just yet. It's the Bitcoin rap battle debate between Hamilton and Satoshi. Does that sound a little bit better? I know we've all had, or maybe we haven't. I'm sure very few of us had. But maybe you've had a conversation with somebody who's really into the idea of Bitcoin. When they're really into it, they're really into it. However, all jokes aside, I'm really interested in this debate. There is something behind Bitcoin that I do sort of respect. It's not subject to government regulation, which may sound scary, but there is also some sort of freedom that comes with that. There is something about a currency that defies borders, that is not subject to regulation by governments. It can't necessarily be abused by that regulation. There is something about that that I find interesting. And putting him up against Hamilton, who was, in a sense, ahead of his own time, this should be really cool. And we got EpicLloyd and TimDeLaGhetto in it, so I love those guys. So this should be a lot of fun. Let's get it started. Turn that up.
Gather online as citizens of the world to judge two experts in a critical debate.
Is that disaster?
The creator of centralized
Kind of funny.
Make some noise.
Got some cameos here.
Hamilton. And in this corner, the creator of the Bitcoin, the believer in the blockchain. Give it up for Satoshi Nakamoto.
Satoshi, I don't know if Satoshi is like one person or many people. I had this documentary that I checked out. It was about the dark web, so naturally you get a little bit into Bitcoin, and I believe Satoshi is anonymous. So that might encourage people, but it also might scare them a little bit. Having that separation between the creator and his creation, there is something that could be comforting about that, but also not knowing who's starting all of this, that might lead to some trust issues as well. So you're already in a weird place with the invention of Bitcoin.
Mr. Hamilton, you may begin.
Before we begin, everyone do me a favor. Read a little thing I wrote called the Federalist Papers. I explain how a nation's unlikely to survive without a strong central government to keep it alive.
Hamilton came up during the American Revolution. That's when he really started to get a little bit of traction in high society and stuff. He was mingling with the right people. And one thing about a lot of people who came up during the American Revolution, a lot of them became Federalists. That's one of the first big American political groups, and they were essentially the big government people. We want a slightly bigger government, and it's weird because we come out of the Revolution to break away from the British, and they end up supporting a very British-like system. So they know what it's like to suffer without a government to take care of you, because the American Revolution, in a sense, was a bit of a disaster. Despite the fact that we won, we did not always have the resources we needed. The government didn't always provide where they needed to, because they couldn't. The government was incredibly weak, so the Federalists come around and they're like, we need a stronger government. People who served like Hamilton, people like Washington, are going to lean heavily on the side of the Federalist Party. They want stronger regulation. And that's going to seemingly be the big difference between the two.
When I lost the central bank, Jefferson called me ill. Now you have my face to thank on every $10 bill. When America was cash-strapped, I pushed past that. Now some sicko makes crypto, and our nation backtracks.
Okay, so he's got a little braggadocio. I'm on the money, man. I think out of anybody, and I've made this point before, out of anybody who is on the American money, Hamilton probably deserves it the most. I think it's kind of lame that Washington, who we're going to remember regardless, Lincoln, and all of them are on the money. I mean, we have secretaries of Treasury. Put them on the money. I know there are some well-meaning things, like they want to put Harriet Tubman on there. And I guess if you're going to have all the other guys on there, sure, put Harriet Tubman on the $20 bill if you want to. But I always thought the idea of having the money people on the money would be kind of cool. It's a nice tribute to the job they performed. Yeah. Ooh.
Even matter. I invented Bitcoin because fiat is a disaster. A man from Japan or a damn hologram. I'm the reason open season on crypto began.
Okay. I'm liking where he's going with it. Hamilton's like, big government. He's like, no government. Okay, I get what you're going for. Clearly, people will need a bit of a balance, because when things are going great, people don't really want the government getting in their business. But when things go poorly, a lot of people would like the government to step in and do something. We're in the middle of a pandemic, so we can see that a little bit more. People have wanted the government to be a bit more active during this time. So cryptocurrency is fine and all, but what happens when it goes poorly? People would want some sort of entity to step in and fix the problem. Like if there was something messed up about the code, if they found out there was this flaw. Apparently, Bitcoin is pretty airtight in a lot of ways. I'm sure somebody someday could find a problem with it eventually, but I don't know. I guess I'd need to understand the system behind it a little bit better if I were to trust that, as somebody who doesn't really have any interest in investing in Bitcoin anytime soon, but wouldn't mind an all digital currency. I actually think there is something behind that I could totally see happening. Like within my lifetime, I wouldn't be surprised if we moved heavily towards a fully digital currency. However, the one thing about that, I don't think it's going to be independent of the government. That's one of the big things. I don't think it would gain such traction without the government being able to have its hand hovering over it in order to fix things if things go wrong.
Does anybody know what this crypto thing means? To me, sounds like the new get broke quick scheme. A bunch of fools from across the land investing in something they don't even understand. Buying Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin Dash. It's all gonna crash and be gone in the flash.
So apparently people made a lot of money off of Bitcoin if they invested early on. Like it's really expensive right now. Like I'm trying to remember what it was. I think it was like each Bitcoin is like $16,000. I might be really wrong about that, but like they are very expensive now. And I don't understand how its value got driven up so much. That's the fact that I don't understand it is what makes me skeptical about it. And the fact that you can't really use it anywhere. That's one of those things. Like it's this currency that's really stuck on the dark web apparently. But yeah, there's not a lot of places that would accept Bitcoin. You're not going to go into your local Walmart and try to pay in Bitcoin. There's just not really a built-in system to do that.
Super funny. As if banks these days still help people make money. The rich get richer and we follow like we're all sheep. The banks serve Wall Street. Crypto serves all streets. The interest in crypto is on rapid ascent. What's your current interest? Like 0.5%? I'm sorry, the bank's gone past its peak. But I want info encrypted, not hacked and leaked.
Okay. There is a certain level of stability that comes with banking, but when banking gets I guess in a sense corrupted by the profit motive, there's going to be some issues there. There are a lot of regulations that even in Hamilton's system that are lifted, like the repeal of Glass-Steagall, that I believe in the Clinton years, when they had this regulation in place where the banks didn't essentially gamble with people's money, and that stuff would be like separate from the money they can use for like investing and all that stuff. But when regulations like that are just kind of being lifted, like whatever, Hamilton's system doesn't really hold a whole lot of water if the government isn't regulating where it's necessary. So, I don't know. Hamilton's he's gonna have to work back from a deficit here, because a lot of people already don't have a lot of faith in his system either.
I'm sorry, the bank's gone past its peak, but I want info encrypted, not hacked and leaked. If this crypto system will be our salvation, it needs to be centralized, needs regulation. If our central database gets, how you say, hacked, insurance will just make a case to get your money back.
Okay, so this isn't really a debate out over like a digital currency. This is a debate over whether it's centralized or not. Okay. Because from how this version of Hamilton is doing it, he doesn't seem like he has a problem with a cryptocurrency or something of the sort, as long as it is kind of like overseen, which seems very much in his character. There's a thing about Hamilton and Satoshi that they have in common. They both kind of support invisible money that you need to put a lot of faith in. Hamilton was big into credit. What is credit if not theoretical money? It's not real money. It only is valuable if the people using it have faith that it's worth anything. Is that sort of thing. And I guess Bitcoin is very much the same. I guess the two, in a lot of ways, are more similar than they are not. It's just this one issue of regulation.
Your money leaves a trail, yeah, a trail to a recession.
Okay, he's coming back. Let me go back for a second. It's an incredibly complicated code. I do know that much. I don't need to know a lot about Bitcoin to understand that its code is incredibly complicated. One thing is that, yeah, it's hard to trace back. It's hard to counterfeit. It's hard to get your money back if perhaps you are a victim of a scam or something, and the fact that it is pushed underground means that you're going to be dealing with some slightly more sketchy characters. If you had like a Hamilton crypto system, or I don't even know if you'd be able to call it that, if you had a Hamilton digital currency system, it would be protected by the government a little bit more, and you'd be able to possibly get your money back if you're a victim of a scam or something. However, I don't know if there's any system of accountability in Bitcoin. It seems like you just have to be really careful who you deal with.
Crypto is frail, that's the essence of your lesson. Your money leaves a trail, yeah, a trail to a recession. A bunch of rich white guys made this system. Why would they ever change it when it made them rich men? Movie moguls fought hard against the VCR. Horse and buggy manufacturers all hated the car. So why would I take my advice from the banks? I don't need a bailout to survive. Thanks.
Okay, there we go. Oh god. That's a really good rebuttal there. Like, there's always going to be something that in place that will try to hold back progress, and Hamilton dealt with that himself when he's trying to establish the national bank. He had to deal with that for a lot of his financial system, which was in many ways ahead of his time. There's so many like agrarian types like Thomas Jefferson, which Thomas Jefferson in a lot of ways was a brilliant dude. He was no economist, and Hamilton's fighting back against that sort of stuff. He thought we could be more than just a bunch of farmers, and I'm not belittling farmers. This is more kind of Hamilton's thinking. Just a bunch of farmers growing their own food and subsisting off of a more local thing. He thought we could be more of a global power, which we could, and we are.
System is so broken, we need that crypto token.
The system isn't broken. Can we trust
Let's just shout our thing at each other. Why not?
Bring me the facts, please testify.
So Satoshi seems like he's more like representing ordinary people, and Hamilton is protecting established powers, and that is what Hamilton would do. He was a New York aristocrat, I guess, a pseudo aristocrat, since Americans didn't ever really have an official aristocracy. But there is a thing about Satoshi, about this system, while it seems like it would favor ordinary people on the face of it, can they trust that they are going to be protected? Not necessarily. This is seemingly an imperfect debate, because I don't know if either side is perfect here. I'm honestly leaning towards Hamilton, but that's because I need to know more about what Satoshi has here. And like, it's Bitcoin is so confusing. It is so confusing, and it's hard to believe that a digital currency, no matter how perfect the coding is, that people couldn't get around it eventually. With the amount of technological progress we've made in just this century alone, I don't know. It's hard. It's very difficult here. I'm trying to play with ideas, maybe play a little devil's advocate here and there, but I'm kind of at the stage where I'm unsure. I'm trying to think if there's like any sort of a compromise between the two, but there doesn't seem to be one. There's probably other cryptocurrency out there that has different sorts of I don't know, it's different from Bitcoin, that maybe there's something that I'd lean more towards. But between these two, right now I'm on Hamilton, but I also kind of want to move towards something kind of like what Satoshi has, but I'm just not ready for it, like that sort of thing.
That's the way a government controls the populace. Government protects its people. All of this is obvious. They keep the peace, and so they keep control. You want us ruled by crypto miners no one even knows? Oh, it's that strong central government bit again. They protect people, but only their citizens. Crypto has no borders. It's a true global currency, and censorship resistance for those who need it urgently. Banks earn trust by assuming liability. You know what key? We know the customer explicitly. Will the real Satoshi please stand up? Nope, you'll still be hiding when crypto busts. You don't need to trust the people, you just need to trust the code. Every record's in the network, you just one node.
But can I trust the code? I'm not smart enough to understand the code, therefore it's hard for me to trust it. I like this. I want to go back in this. Hamilton this is kind of an argument I entertain.
Banks earn trust by assuming liability. You know what key? We know the customer explicitly.
So much, yeah, the anonymity that comes with Bitcoin is a little bit strange, and it's hard to deal with. It looks especially bad because one of the few examples we have of it being used is via the dark web, so it isn't necessarily going to look all that pretty there. You're dealing with very often unsavory characters, people who are dealing in stuff that you can't get by normal means. It's sketchy.
Will the real Satoshi please stand up? Nope, you'll still be hiding when crypto busts. You don't need to trust the people, you just need to trust the code. Every record's in the network, you just one node. And when you find a flaw, there's a software update. Now try updating cache. Go ahead, I'll wait.
But how do the updates work? Oh god, I'm scared of the comments here. If we have anybody who's like really into this stuff, I feel like it's gonna be an essay. But like, who's updating it? The thing is, this all has to go back to a human, right? It's not like is it a self-updating thing? Because if it's not self-updating, then there is room for things to go very, very wrong, for corruption to seep into it.
Wait, cash works. You immediately pay. Crypto's a far worse medium of exchange. Can't Bitcoin the dentist? Can't Bitcoin my breakfast? Can't even use Bitcoin at Bitcoin conventions.
Yes, I know that story. It's really weird. That looked bad on them. that Bitcoin convention, and there was just the big story like, nope, you can't even use your Bitcoin here, and that doesn't instill faith in people. I understand you don't have the infrastructure to do so, which really sucks, but also, if you're going to be doing a big event like this, you want to have something in place so that you could... things like that, conventions like that are supposed to kind of show people why this stuff can work. You're trying to sell it to people, essentially. You're selling the idea of it. If you can't use your own product there, then, I don't know, you might be doing yourself a disservice by even having that convention. I don't know.
Currency starts with universal adoption. It takes time for places to make it an option. Plus, billions of people don't have bank accounts. No savings, no interest, no checks to bounce. You're saving the world, but what's the price you're paying?
But there's also the issue of, like, this has to be done through technology in a sense. You'd probably need a phone, a computer, some sort of a device in order to pay, and a lot of people may not have those as well. That's another problem that comes with the Bitcoin thing. He's throwing a good point at Hamilton, but like there is sort of a comeback that seems to be kind of built into that. You don't have a bank account? Oh, I don't have a computer. You know, we both got some issues here. We're gonna have to work together a little bit to make something here.
The only change you're creating is climate change. Power grids
Oh.
spiking all across the land. Overheated, no one needs it. Hope it all gets banned.
I heard about that. Apparently, like these Bitcoin mine things. I don't even get how that works, but apparently, like it actually does push like global warming or climate change or something. It actually does register a little bit, which I thought was like completely insane. But there are like these really complicated Bitcoin mining setups that actually do have somewhat of an impact. Apparently, it's weird.
From the king of paper currency, the hypocrisy. For bills and forms and triplicates, you're killing all the trees. Don't like my power usage? Stop targeting my rights. I own my purchase power and the market sets the price. It's gonna get real dark if this is crypto's night. They use your currency for crimes, that's your kryptonite. Most crime is dealt with Benjamins, not the blockchain. There's a reason most dollars carry traces of cocaine.
Okay, I was about to say like, but also. There's points on either side here, and I think this is a very well-balanced debate. Sometimes in the ERB videos, I've seen somewhere it's like, okay, this one guy completely destroyed the other guy. But they've got some decent rebuttals between the two of them. To say that Bitcoin is used for crime, that's because it is pushed underground. I will give them that point there. If it was not completely underground, then it would be used kind of more casually, I'm sure. You'd go with how much it's worth. Do you pay like fractions of a Bitcoin? Can you do like 1/1000th of a Bitcoin? I don't know how that works. If they are that expensive, how does that even work? But like you could go and buy something with your Bitcoin, like if you had the option, and you wouldn't have to buy like human beings or illegal weapons or copious amounts of cocaine or anything like that. You could buy normal stuff if there was an option.
That's your proof of work. That's pure speculation. Those darknet black markets need more regulation. The world's full of currencies, and this one makes it worse. 180 now, Bitcoin's 180 first. It's not the currency itself, it's the method, man. You can't build things that last without a central plan. Crypto is a balance to the centralized model, cause things fall apart, the sensor cannot hodl. If you end up having problems...
So there is something about Bitcoin that I find interesting. If you invest your money in Bitcoin and the national currency goes down, Bitcoin would provide a little bit of stability for your money because it does defy borders. So there is something there in investing in it if you don't have a lot of faith in your national currency. I'm afraid to learn more about this. I'm already not the best economist. It's very difficult. I understand some economics abstractly, but I don't know. I do find this absolutely fascinating, though, so I am tempted to learn more about it.
I feel bad for you, son. I got 99 problems, but a bit ain't one.
John!
Having a duel.
Oh, come on, come on.
That is the end of the debate. Now it's time for the people to choose who won. Let it be known in the comments below. My name is The Gift of Gab, and I am your host. Peace and love, y'all.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's EpicLloyd from Epic Rap Battles of History. What's up? I'm TimDeLaGhetto from YouTube stuff, Wild Out stuff. Yeah, all that. What do you guys think about this crypto thing, huh? Do you trust it? Do you not? Leave us your opinion in the comments below. Let us know who you think won, and if you want to win some Bitcoin, leave a comment because we're going to be choosing a random person to win. I'm going to leave a comment. Check the rules and regulations in the description below.
Okay.
And thanks for watching.
So, I guess walking out of this, I think I'm okay with Bitcoin being an option. I am glad that it is an option, and if people want to invest in it, like, invest carefully or whatever, make sure you understand what you're investing in, and you're more educated on the subject than me. That's all I can really say there. To have something somewhat like Bitcoin, maybe something with a little bit of government regulation to it as well, that is something that I would see myself getting into first. If there was like a parallel system under the purview of government, like I could see myself getting into that at some point in my lifetime. I think Bitcoin's in an interesting place right now where I'm not brave enough to invest in that sort of thing. Plus, I don't have that kind of money because Bitcoin is friggin' expensive. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I have lots of thoughts, no conclusions really, no solid conclusions, but lots of thoughts. And it makes me think maybe I should go down in like an economics route on this channel a little bit, and maybe try to learn a little bit more about economics. I'm trying to diversify a little bit, do more than just history, just go for all kinds of social studies. And like I'm trying to do a little bit of a geography push right now on the channel, and maybe having an economics push would be cool. Maybe I could learn a thing or two about economics along the way. Because like that's a social studies person's math, economics, and for somebody who's bad at math, it would be good to know at least something. So thank you for watching, and I will see you guys next time. If you have anything you want me to check out, pop them in the comments below, and like this video, subscribe, and become a channel member. We got lots of channel members. We passed 30 the other day, and we got lots of new emojis. So the more of you that join, the more emojis I get to add, and I love the emojis. They make me happy. I've got one waiting. I've got another emoji waiting, but we don't have enough members yet. So once we hit 40 members, I get to add another emoji. That'll be cool. All right, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.